Give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show in the event of this coronavirus pandemic that's taking place as we currently speak. We want to uncover and discover everything dealing with the coronavirus, and that's including one was called St.Cotona, and I have a more than worthy guest. You all know him, Loki, who's going to speak on this issue. Loki, welcome to the show, bruh.
What's going on, Brother Black?
It's good, man. It's good. You know, it's another one of those universal mind travels that we're getting ready to embark upon, because this is very important, because sometimes when I have you on the show, not only do you speak to the present, but you also speak to the Akashic records, to the subconscious mind. Basically, what I'm saying is wake people up. So definitely on this St.Cotona, speak on it, brother.
Yeah. So, we were just talking about the synchronicities that came up, because for everybody dealing with this, veil is been thin. You know, that was the whole point when we was doing the podcast around when they were talking about Trump getting elected to their office. We were saying go ahead and let him in, because that's going to lift the veil. Right. So right now, you get to see a certain side of people. You get to see certain veils that have been lifted, even the way that people are acting, you know. And people, when it comes to, let's even say the Supreme Wisdom Book, the 120 Lessons, is that when you're talking about looking at things from a subconscious perspective or from a God perspective, then it's all about looking in the mirror, taking responsibility of what's going on in your reality. So you can look at, like O.G. Bobby used to say, everything that's going on in your reality is a reflection of what's going on inside of your constitution and in your reality as well. And then you'll see a macro version of that. So for everybody dealing with it, the best thing that they can do is get knowledge on it, look at the synchronicities, capitalize off of it, and, you know, like, what's the name of that cigarillo? Al Capone cigarillo. You either at the table or you're on the menu. So you either gonna be like the sheep and get swept up, or you're gonna be able to peep game, capitalize off of the energy, sit at the table so you're not on the menu.
That's right. Come on. Yes, sir. Definitely, bro. Well put. Yeah. This particular time, this knowledge, man, is granted, because you're right. We actually need this knowledge in order to move forward, you know, and be in tune with the times. Because all of it, people got to realize that a lot of these things that took place in the past, we were there and we were around that energy as things unfolded, and so those incidents are in our subconscious. They're in our genetic DNA. It just takes those to pull it and bring it forth, because we've been under the cloak of white supremacy, and we've been under the cloak of a certain type of fed knowledge that was fed to us by those who didn't have our best interests at heart. So whenever you get those who can come in and challenge your thought process and challenge you to tap into the sciences to bring forth something that will help you in this time, because it's important in these times, because all of these things are taking place at this moment in time, and it needs to be understood, you know. And so when you were saying earlier, you know, when we was talking on how St.Cotona and how it was matching up with the times, whether it's economics or whether it's certain type of rituals. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I saw how the Vatican had a statue made of gold dedicated to St.Cotona. So when this whole corona epidemic is over with, they want to pull her out and say and make her be the victorious one, the one who fought against the pandemics, right? And so it's like, the question is the name and who named it, and how can they already be prepared to move on a victory lap when it's said and done.
Right, man. Shout out to that nigga Geno, man. Sent the pitch over. We lined up a lot. Hollered at, sent some messages in. Hollered at Jamal, Chubb,
Geno.
What up, Chubb? And we just comparing and contrasting our notes, and I was just talking to Black about it. And so we got the picture from Geno before I even seen it. A lot of the popular people on YouTube that speak on the subject matter, before I seen them speak on it, I got the picture from Geno. Mm-hmm. And it said that St.Cotona is the patroness that sits over epidemics and plagues. And, when you read the story, you find out that there was a plague going on in this, throwback time, and they were blaming it on the Christians. And today you got this same type of thing, a plague or a virus, and they're blaming it on the Chinese. Same story retold.
Right. Now,
so,
look, you would see
mm-hmm.
Trump. You see Trump come on his press conference. He called it the Chinese virus, and matter of fact, now I did this show first talking about racism dealing with the Chinese and this coronavirus, right? And now NPR and BBC, they picking up on that particular issue. But it's true. You in the store, people see a Chinese person coming, they duck off in the aisles, they get away from them. They like they facing racism. They might as well go back to 1850 in America. The way they getting done in, nobody want to shop in their businesses. People are getting away from them. So, yeah, you're right. They blaming this incident totally on the Chinese. But finish, bro. Finish. I just had to say that.
No, yeah. So yeah, man. They all right. What's going on now? Yeah, she came outside.
Yeah, because you were saying how they was blaming it on the Christians, like today they blaming it on the Chinese.
Right, exactly. So when I was looking at the story, this just goes for anybody. As I was seeing the synchronicity, what was going on in my life, and that's the way that you capitalize on what's going on at the current time. Hold on 1 second, Black. My bad.
Nah, no problem at all, bro. We doing this live, and we dealing with these subjects specifically at this particular time. So, we bring people on the show to keep the information rolling, to keep you all invested in a different type of knowledge. Something that you're not hearing every day. But definitely for those that's listening, check out St.Cotona. Google that and get affiliated with the name, because there is no coincidences. There's not a such thing as a coincidence. This thing is in sync, in line, and on time. And as I stated, how the Vatican was supposed to roll the golden statue of St.Cotona out as soon as this pandemic is over with. I found that very interesting, And on this issue of St.Cotona, as Brother Loki was saying, Geno came with the picture, and Brother Loki sent me the picture, and I stated, hey, we need to do a show on St.Cotona, so, let me know and let us use your expertise and share this with the people, right? And so he was willing to do that, so I really appreciate it. And we got Brother Loki. What's up, God?
What's up, God? Yeah, my bad.
No
Just,
problem,
it's at the house, everything live, man. There's so much stuff going on, man, over here.
Yeah, but we live, bro. We always live, man. That's what we do.
Right, yeah. But I was just talking about the synchronicities that was coming up in regards to the story that he sent me, and my main message with it is to just capitalize off of it. If I think on the show we've talked about candles before. The candles is just for the programming of your subconscious, because everything that's happening right now, that's where it's coming from. We're just talking about what, things coming from the darkness into the light, meaning that when it comes to even creation itself, they said there was darkness, and then they said, let there be light. So that's just the yin and the yang, that's the black and the white color frequency. They're just talking about humanity and something that was prior, that came before humanity, which is the thinking apparatus of the soul, which is the subconscious mind. And the soul would be a term to describe what came before creation and what creation ultimately came out of. So that's why, I'll say, but you have a conscious perspective and you have a subconscious perspective. Basically, in a nutshell, your conscious perspective, or the white color frequency, is your experience as a human. Your subconscious perspective, or the thinking apparatus of the soul, is an approach and an understanding that came prior, before creation. So you could pull from two different places. And your subconscious, the way that they represent it in movies is especially in horror movies, they'll always show it, and we talked about this before, as some type of monster. All they're really saying with the monster figure, they're saying it's so far removed from what you view as beauty and humanity and the perfect type of humanity, and this holding hands and running through a lily patch, that when this monster shows up, supposed to be scared of it, supposed to be fearful of it. Just like I always use the reference for the fish that are at the bottom of the ocean, they look the same as the monsters in a horror movie, because they're so deep in the waters that it's pitch black down there. Just like the color frequency to represent the subconscious mind. Asar, or Osiris in Egypt, is the Lord of the perfect black. The perfect black is the subconscious mind. So they're just saying it's so far removed from what a person would view as beauty, because it is a more ancient perspective. It's a primordial perspective. So you're not just looking at it strictly from a human perspective, you look at it from a God perspective, and really, like it's been said, even before the gods was the Titan and the great old ones, which just represents going deeper into your subconscious and far as the symbols are concerned, because your subconscious speaks the language of symbolism. So you can look at everything that's going on right now symbolically, what each character represents, because it's just a series of events that is leading us to take us to another level. So we got to be able to examine this with a clear head, not get caught up in all the fear tactics, and but we can peep game and see the way that everything is reacting, take a note, and capitalize off of it. Never obstacle, always opportunity. This is decode all the symbols of everything that's going on right now and capitalize off the energy. Don't try to fight against it. Absorb it. I just put on the movie Matrix Revolutions or Revelation, whatever. Just had it playing in the background. Neo I was talking to my lady about it. Neo is fighting against all these agents. He ain't getting anywhere until ultimately, when the whole trilogy was over, he realized that you have to absorb the energy or become one with it or eat it in order to capitalize on it. Like they say, the warrior's greatest act is to drop his sword. When you drop your sword, then you get impaled by what is viewed as your opposition, but really it's not opposition, it's really your opportunity to go to the next level, because you absorb the energy, you become one with it. Wakanda in the movie Black Panther was showing that they wasn't fighting against the technology, they ate the technology, and they became the greatest civilization on earth. They took nature and technology, they combined it into one. That's what they were showing us in the movie Predator. He was on a whole nother level. Of course, they had to defeat the symbol, because that symbol represents a primordial symbol of us, where we wasn't, being fearful of the next wave, but we were actually riding the wave, So, I mean, we can go on and on, man, all day with the symbol.
we finna do something, bro. I don't know how this gonna come out, right? But we getting ready to do something that's probably never been done on radio before, bro. Right? We finna tap into the subconscious and the Akashic records and figure this thing out, right? Now, just follow me for a second, bro. 'Cause I don't know the answer, right? But together, we put our heads together, we might come up with the answer, right? Okay, so in the beginning, you had atoms, right? ATOM, right? Now, with the virus, they're all alone. Meaning that the atom was there in the universe in the beginning, because you had atoms, protons, neutrons. But we say the atom was there. That spark of life was there. That means then that a virus had to be in existence right after the atom or with the atom. Meaning that there's no time or that we can go back and research when the first virus was created. Right.
Shit, creation is the virus.
Okay.
Creation is the virus because viruses would just represent imperfection. Creation had to come into play because we had already mastered perfection as the soul, as the one. So you have to put yourself in the appearance of the two in order to observe self. And when you put yourself in the appearance of separation, that creates a flaw because you're not whole, you're not complete, you're separated, masculine and feminine principle, you know. But in order, we did that so that we could go take it beyond perfection. That's what this whole game is about. It's about going beyond perfection. So we have to master imperfection or the appearance of imperfection in order to go beyond perfection.
So is that when they're saying, as an example, then the God would be called the atom and Satan would be called a virus? But we got to overcome or incorporate that virus into the garden and make it one, because the virus, once the virus, and it's called a herd immunity. Once the virus, or someone is immune to the virus, then once a certain percentage begins to have a natural antibody or immune to that virus, then that virus can't justify its existence and it dies off. It serves no purpose anymore once you become strong enough against the virus on your own immunity. But the herd theory, HERD, because they're saying, okay, well, look, one of the best ways to get rid of it and not have it come back again, kind of like the chicken pox. Once you get it and your immune system gets strong and it goes away, you don't have to worry about catching it again. And one theory was just let the coronavirus run its course, and then those who build up the immune system, no matter what as long as it's a 20% above rate of population that can create that antibody, then the virus will seek to exist. It's almost like saying it's alive and it's trying to find a host that it can get into. But if it knocks on the door of so many and nobody answers it, then it just seeks to exist and it dies off.
Right. Well, Dr. 7P's be opponent, when he was down here, he proved through so many cases, so many people, that no dis-ease or uneasiness of the body or low vibratory energy in the body can actually become prevalent as long as the right liquids and solids are put into the body and the body is maintained at a high level. So, none of these, what they call viruses or, none of these things, these bacteria or mucus, are, incurable, or, things that just have to, be such a issue so prevalent amongst our people, in particular.
Right. Yeah. The mind is powerful. The mind can actually let things in or keep things out.
Right.
Yeah. That was interesting because I see because some stories are metaphors and sometimes they interchangeable where they would actually, instead of saying virus, they say Satan, or they put things in a way to where we could understand the situation, not only for that date and time, but for a future date and time. So it will be put in a specific language, so it could be understood in years to come. Because, and the reason why I'm saying this is because it's the same battle of good and evil. I mean, from eons in time, even to the present. It's almost like you're always gonna have this opposition of this foe trying to take you down. But as you stated, if you got the right fluids inside your body and you on the right mindset, then you can avert it and keep moving forward. But if you're on the wrong diet or the wrong mindset, then it can creep in and destroy you.
Exactly.
So now, we finna get into this, bro, before we get out, right? Before we get out of here, right? Now, check this out, right? Now, say this coronavirus it's just running rampant and it's just killing folk in the millions, right? And then some stranger comes to you, right, and says, "Look, tell everybody to make a tea out of garlic and parsley, right?" And this is just hypothetical. I ain't saying it's working out like that. It's just hypothetical, right? And they walk away, right? Now, this prior knowledge that no one knew at the time, they wasn't doing it right. And then you go and do it, and you cured yourself, and you tell somebody else to do it, and you cured yourself. And they say, well, where did you get this information from? How did you know to do this? You didn't go to no medical school. You know what I mean? How did you figure that out? And you say, well, the stranger came and told me, right? Now, since the population didn't know this, right, then that means then that knowledge, you could say, well, now God came in the person of a man and told me this knowledge.
Yes, sir.
You know
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's
right.
You know what I mean? And it's been that way since the beginning of the time, man. Folks say, look, man, I'm not finna let my people suffer. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna come down and, hey, look here, do this, and this. You know what I mean? And you like, okay, let me see if this works, man. You tried it, like, oh, guy, okay with that. But where you get it from? You know what I'm saying? Me, yeah, because that's always been our knowledge and way of dealing with things, and we shouldn't make no excuses for doing how we do it. You know what I mean?
Man, that was fire. That was fire.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that apply to so many things. Man, I feel that. So I'm gonna have to use that one.
Good, man, bro, we still sharp steel, bro. We sit down and chop it up, because you know how I go, bro. You a giant in your studies, What that is, God. But yeah. So St.Cotona. Now St.Cotona was tied to two trees, right, and split in half.
Yeah.
And St. Victor was beheaded.
Right.
What was that about?
So So at the time they had the plague and they were blaming it on the Christians, and both of them came out and said they were Christians, so they were tortured and killed for it. And the thing is, okay, so St.Cotona, she sits over plagues and epidemics, and Saint Victor is he's the saint of victory. So, this is a Roman Catholic. These are Roman Catholic saint deities, if you will, and their purpose is for them to tap into the subconscious, use these symbols in order to paint a certain type of story or paint a certain type of picture. So it's just like how you could create a motion picture, and that can have, like, I use Tupac, for instance. They said that in the motion picture that he was in, that he became the character that he was playing, because the whole motion picture is all programming for the subconscious. You go into the theater, it's flickering lights, put your mind in the alpha state, is very programmable state, boom, hits your subconscious. Great example, Panic and Use, you go see a karate movie, you come out of the movie kicking your friend. You go in there, you see a sad movie, you in there shedding tears. But I thought it was so fake. No, you go in and what they call suspended,
disbelief,
right. Suspension of disbelief or something like that. So you put your guard down, which is your conscious mind, because your conscious mind is the doubting Thomas. Is what protects your subconscious from information penetrating and going into your programming, which your body follows your subconscious. So you suspend your disbelief, you put your conscious or your doubting Thomas down, and you go in there and you're completely open to the experience. That's why, people cry and they have all these different type of emotions. Some people can go, and I remember when I used to look at World Star Hip Hop, I used to look at that trash where couples is on there beefing. Next thing you know, I'm beefing.
Right, oh my God, bro. Yeah.
Going through the programming, has a direct effect on, it can affect your chakras, just depending on if you balance enough in it, and if you have certain things in place to where it can't have that kind of impact on you.
Right.
But that's why self-programming is so important. Mm-hmm.
Right, but wouldn't there be separation, though, in a sense to where, look, someone's watching these shows and they come out and want to react from the show, but one is like, I'm not dealing with that. I'd rather go out here and in the damn woods somewhere and relax. You know what I mean? And keep my peace of mind. That's creating that separation, unless one would say, okay, I'll make myself uncomfortable and deal with the madness, or choose to, look, you can have the madness. I'm finna get out here and go where it's peaceful to me at. Meaning, meaning you blocking certain things from your reality.
Right. Yeah, you see it in mythology all the time. You got all these deities in different environments. Some of them is they in the midst of the shit, living out their mythology. Some of them is somewhere on a mountain, somewhere getting blown. It doesn't make any deity's path any less divine. They all have their own divine purpose behind it. So it's just all about what you want to deal with. Me, I'm gonna stay in the shit because this is where most of my family at. So I know there's a spiritual connection when it comes to the relative realm, your relatives, and relative vibrations and people. Whereas people are, we're forms of energy. Energy vibrates. So, so that's why I stay in the shit. So, but I'm built for it too. If you ain't built for it, or it ain't even. Sometimes it's just about what is going to be suitable. Like I said, for one's path, it ain't no right or wrong anyway. So it's a lot of different ways to look at it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because now because St.Cotona sits over plagues and disease. Is St.Cotona the plague and disease, or is she launching the plague and disease? And then who was Saint Victor victorious over, and who was against the Christians and putting that punishment on them or who implemented that punishment. We gotta look into that.
Yeah, we gotta look into that. Only little bit that I can say about that is that Aurelius is the one that basically put the command down to get them executed, to my understanding.
Okay, Aurelius. Okay. Well,
yeah, my cousin's actual name is Aurelius. You know, now, as far as who launched it, it was launched by the Roman Catholic saints. So, you know, that lets you know who launched that. You know, all of their saints are all there for their bidding. They're all there for a purpose. They all, you know, very, very important not to look over. Let's just say, even if you look at it from a mundane perspective, is that anybody's spiritual system or religion, you know, all of the characters within inside of it will be considered sacred, considered important. Even if you're a Christian or you're a Muslim or whatever the case, you have figures and characters that are used in order to explain, you know, things in the human experience and with the inside of the body. If you're using the Quran, then, you know, you got characters and scenarios you use to explain what's going on in the now, in the perpetual now, the only thing that's real, by looking at the symbols and seeing how they apply to the right now. That's what the purpose of the books are for. You know, these books are books full of symbols to explain what's going on right now, to use as a tool for right now.
Right. Plus we wrote our history in advance, and then we walked through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why we was that wise? Yeah, that's the God. The God write his history in advance. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, hey, bro, that's where we at. That was, yeah. Oh, and I want to do in the near future. I want to do a show with you, Brother Jamal, on sleep apnea, because Brother Jamal did a show on sleep apnea that was so powerful about brothers waking up then going back to sleep, and I want to expound on that, right, in the near future. So y'all listening, stay tuned for that. Brother Geno, we'll have to catch him back. I leave his name on the show because he was the one that initiated the picture. So those listening, when you see Geno up there, that's because he was the first one that came with that picture of St.Cotona. So that's what it is. Brother Loki, as always, bro. Always, you know, we ride, bro. We get in this universal car, man, and ride.
For shit show, man. I got one. I got a shout out and a link. You know, before we get out of here, man. Shout out Ayo Kaseko, man. You out there, you know, showing love to the Soul of a God record. They can go to Loki channel on YouTube, LO-KI. LO-KI, go on YouTube, check out Soul of God, leave a comment, subscribe, fuck with me. You know, I'm in the field, you know, chopping with the you know, with the big homies and the OGs and the soldiers out here. You know, we fuck around, we ain't chillin', man. And we out here, man. We, you know, hey, prosperity is coming up. Oh, that's the last thing that, and I think this falls under St.Cotona in particular. She sits over money, treasure, things dealing with prosperity. So I know for us, because we're tapping in, we hands-on with this shit, we got it hands-on deck. It's actually making manifest for us. So that's why I say, man, this shit ain't no joke, man. If you want to be out here cheesing in these times and not sweating and going through all this madness and shit, you want to be kicked up like Coal Black, you know what I mean? Somewhere in the shade with the lemonade, they tripping. If you want to be like Loki, somewhere on the deck, you know, with his dogs chilling, you know,
relax.
A house full of good shit, garden in the back, you know.
That's right.
AC blowing cold, feeling good. Got my family, you know, within arm's reach. You know, if you want to be like us, then you need to fuck with this size, man, and stop being so goddamn scared, man, and get with it, man. Stop being a beta, get on this alpha shit, man. Fuck with us, man.
For real. Come on, enjoy life, man. Have some fun, man. Hey, but you know what? I'm going to tell y'all this. Look, one of the first steps y'all can do, man, to rise on that level is listen to that soul of a God and let it take that in. Take it in. Listen to the lyrics. Take it in. The beat. And let it raise your vibratorial experience. And that's right on YouTube. Soul of a God, man. Yeah, definitely, man. Support. It's on. That's right. Because that music is vibration. It's a pitch. You know what I mean? It's gonna raise you up. It's a fact. It's a science. What you were saying, bro?
I just want to add, can't forget, the fact that, we got our other half, we got the feminine energy around, so I don't want y'all dudes, thinking that it's okay to just forever just be sitting in the crib, goddamn, on Pornhub thinking that that's life, we ain't got, we don't live like that, man, we good where we stand, so I'm just saying, you can't really live, experience it to the fullest unless you got that on hand, man, unless you got that on deck for real. But if you celibate out there and that's what you need to do, then do what you got to do, till you can get to that point.
Right.
But
your other
don't think that you're gonna just stay in that position forever,
Yeah, that's your other half of you. That's why when you back in the day, you hear the older cats say, "That's my better half of my other half." That's that. If you look at your other half, you see part of yourself. So yeah, definitely, man. It all goes together, man. You can't get them. Oh man, but see, oh man, damn, we gonna close this out, right? But every time when you say something, but check this out though. Damn, it's like it's like today, especially when you turn on these shows, man, they got female that want to be harder than dudes, right? But if you trying to reach a certain level, everything has its role. I'm not knocking nobody what they doing. Cause I ain't getting that fight no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying for a certain aspect of life, a certain level that you're trying to ascend to, then you have to do certain things to get to that point, and certain things won't apply. And it can't because it wasn't made to apply to get to that level. Now, on the level that it is on, that's what it is. And so, stay there and do what you're doing. I'm just saying if you're trying to ascend to a certain place, you got to have that other half. That feminine energy around you to complement that masculine energy. That's all I'm saying, man.
Fact.
That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I'm gonna leave it at that, bro.
You feel me?
You know what I'm saying?
You feel me? Because look, man.
Nah, because you said so the other day. Because it happened to me too. You run into somebody, and you know how you as a man, you normally would treat female like, you give them a hug, hey baby, how you doing? And it's funny trying to dap up a bra like she your partner, but I stay out of it, man.
Nah, man, I don't do that. I don't dap up women, man. They try to do that during the corona. I'm like, nah, you're not gonna use this as an excuse to try to dap a nigga, some bullshit like that. I give you a head nod.
Like what's up? Yeah, but cause I'm old school, but I can't take away years of teaching on how to be polite and treat a woman, and then all of a sudden it's just embedded, man, for generation on generation. But it's no disrespect. I guess what I'm saying. It's just certain things I just can't do. That's all. I'm
gonna walk down the street with me though.
Alright.
That was it.
Down what street?
Down here in
Well, hey, man, we gonna pick it up at a later date, bro. Man, I sure appreciate you on the show, God.
Oh, yeah, appreciate you, God.
Yeah, Verb Peak Radio, we at.